श्रीमान् वेङ्कटनाथार्यः कवितार्किककेसरी वेदान्ताचार्यवर्यो मे सन्निधत्तां सदा हृति मानातीतप्रतितविभवां मङ्गलं मङ्गलानां वक्षः पीठीं मधुविजयिनो भूषयन्तीं स्वकान्त्या प्रत्यक्षानुश्रविकमहिमप्रातिनीनां प्रजानां श्रेयो मूर्तिं श्रियमशरणस्त्वां शरण्यां प्रपद्ये. Namaskaram. My name is Malati. I'm an engineer, entrepreneur, a podcaster, and a motivational speaker. I've been living in Frankfurt since 2006 with my family. I'm very thankful to Arohanam, the Indian Music Arts Forum Germany, for giving me this lovely opportunity to talk to you about Samudra Mathanam. This appears in the Bhagavata Purana, in the Vishnu Purana, in the Mahabharata, and very briefly in the Ramayana. So I'm very happy to share this wonderful story of churning the Milky Ocean with you all. Now, churning the milk actually means having a rod, and we have a rope around the rod, and it is pulled on both sides, churned for a few minutes until you get the butter on top with the water elements being separated. As a child, I used to enjoy doing this churning in my grandmother's home and also enjoyed the butter. It would taste amazing, and there would always be a lot of competition in the family as to who would get the butter, but my grandma was very strict. She wouldn't it is meant for the god basically, and it also served and it was also used to make ghee that would be served to the entire family. But anyway, so this is what churning actually means. But these days we buy butter, ready-made butter from the shop, so we no longer can have even a glimpse of such churning at households. Maybe in some villages, maybe you could see that, but this is what it is. This is a very beautiful story or a very beautiful Leela that is being enacted by the divine couple Mahalakshmi and Mahavishnu. They are known as the Jagannatha and the Jagannmata, and together they rule this world. And they are an eternal couple. They never exist or away from each other. And maybe you may think, that they never exist from each other. Then why was Rama born in one place and Sita at another place? But it's all for a divine cause. So it appears that Rama was born in one place at one time and Sita was born at other place at another time. But I believe that they can never be seen as being away from each other. Some of the great saints actually describe them as being like a flower. If Vishnu is the flower, Lakshmi is the fragrance. If he is the fruit, she is the flavor. If he is the nail, she is the flesh. If he is the cloud, she is the rain. The examples or the comparisons could go on and on, but I guess you get the meaning. So they are like this couple who are always together. They have this eternal love for each other, and each does things for the other. They are supposed to understand, they understand each other's mind, and they're always in alignment with regard to their mission, vision, and goals. And whatever Leela or whatever pastimes they get into, it's always that they do it together. I'm very happy to share one of their Leelas in the form of in the Samudra Manthan episode. Now we know that this universe is made of 14 lokas according to Hinduism or the Sanatana Dharma. We live in the middle. We meaning our earth is in the middle, and it is called the Bhuloka. So there are 6 above and there are 7 below. So the 7 below are called Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Rasatala, Mahatala, Patala. And above, so we have the 7, and ours is the eighth, which is the Bhuloka. Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka, Suvarloka, Mahaloka. Uh, mm, oh, just a minute. Mahaloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, and Satyaloka. So, in each of these lokas, we have different beings, and according to Sanatana Dharma, we have 83 million different kinds of life forms that exist in the universe, and human being is the only life form that has the opportunity um, to to seek moksha or to seek liberation from the circle of birth and death. More maybe some in some other episode, but now I will come back to Isamutramantan. Now, the Suvarloka is where all these 33 crores or the 330 million devas live with Indra as his king, as their king, and his kingdom is called the Amaravati, and it is supposed to be heaven. I mean, it has all kinds of pleasures. It has all kinds of treasures. It is a very rich kingdom and ruled by Lord Indra. And he became very arrogant because of his richness, and this led to the loss. We'll see how. One day, in this Suvarloka, we also have the Gandharvas, the Apsaras living there. One day, a Gandharva Stree wanted to visit Mahavishnu and Mahalakshmi at their abode, and she went there. She sang hymns in praise of Lord Mahalakshmi. She was very pleased with that, and she presented this Gandharva Stree with a garland, with a flower garland, which this lady readily accepted after paying her obeisances to them. And as she was walking home, she met sage Durvasa. She fell at his feet, took his blessings, and readily offered the garland to him, thinking that it would be more useful to the sage. And she walked away. The sage saw Indra coming on his vehicle, the elephant Airavata, and sage thought maybe this would be more beneficial to Indra, and he offered this to Indra. Now, Indra, as soon as he saw sage Durvasa, should have gotten off his Airavata and fallen at the feet of the sage, but he didn't do it. As I told you, he was filled with arrogance and pride. Normally, sage Durvasa, who is known for his instant anger, like instant food, would have cursed anyone who did that to him. But surprise of surprises, as he was holding Mahalakshmi's Mahaprasada, the garland, he probably imbibed some of her qualities, which is, she's known as Kshama. She would instantly forgive anyone, and she's full of compassion. So maybe sage Durvasa had some of these qualities because of that garland. He didn't do anything to Indra. He still offered the garland to him, and Indra showed his gourd that he uses for the Airavata, which is called Ankusha. So he showed that Ankusha, and he told Durvasa to put the garland there, and the sage did. Indra took the Ankusha, took the garland, and put it on top of Airavata's head. Now that's something unusual for the elephant, and it got irritated and annoyed and took it with its trunk, put it down, and crushed it with its feet. Now this enraged sage Durvasa, and he immediately cursed Indra, saying that you are behaving with such arrogance, and that's all because of the rich fortune that you have, the Aishwaryam that you have, and you are now going to lose all of that. Magic, Airavatam vanished. Indra immediately realized his mistake and fell at the sage's feet, asking for his forgiveness. But the sage simply walked away, saying that he can do nothing. So Indra goes back to his Indraloka, and he sees that all the devas are weak, and no longer have the strength that is required of them to be able to fight the Asuras. Knowing this, Mahabali, the king of Asuras, started attacking them with his Asura army, and the Devas, not having the strength or the valor, started losing all the battles, and soon they reached a stage where they were they were driven away from their kingdom by the Asuras. Indra became very despondent, and not knowing how to uh, get back his lost fortune, he sought refuge at with Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu has taken an oath. I mean, we also get to hear that in the Bhagavad Gita, that he says, Paritranaya sadhunam, vinashaya chatushkrutam, dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So true to that words, when dharma is on the decline, adharma is on the rise, Vishnu would come to the rescue, especially of the Devas. He has also promised that he would always be on the side of Devas. So he said, having listened to the story from Indra, he said, okay, I will help you. Now, for you to be able to fight again with the Asuras and get back your kingdom, you must have strength. Now, to get strength, the lost strength of all the Devas, you need to have Amrit or the Amritam. And Indra asked, where do I get it? Vishnu said, okay, it's below my bed. He sleeps on the snake bed, and he said it's below this. So you churn this milky ocean, and below it, as you churn, you would get the Amrit. Drinking that, you can regain your strength, your all the devatas, the 330 million devatas would get back their strength, and you would be able to fight the Asuras. And not only that, drinking this Amritam, you will become immortal, he said. Indra was very happy. He was, as he was about to leave, Vishnu said, wait, no, don't be in a hurry. You have to form a coalition with your opposition. You must have the Asuras on your side now. You have to bring them on board, because churning the ocean is a mighty task, and it simply cannot be done by you who are already weak. So go talk to the Asuras and tell them that they would also get a part of the Amritam. So the Ashura, and also Vishnu promised that, don't worry, I'll be on your side and ensure that only you get the Amritam. So Indra went and spoke to the king Mahabali, and they agreed. So the idea, the solution given by Vishnu was that they have to bring Mount Mantara and put it in the Milky Ocean, request Vasuki, who's the king of serpents living in the Patala Loka, and use Vasuki as the rope around this rod, which is the Mount Mantara, and then churn the ocean so you get the treasures. So the 33 crores or the 330 million devas, along with the Asuras, who are always double in number, so along with 660 million Asuras, they go and try to lift Mount Mantara. I mean, being a mountain, which is, it is huge. So they kind of take turns to move the mountain little by little, and soon they all get very tired. They keep it at in some place after removing it a few yojanas, as they would call it in those days, a few thousand kilometers or so. They are very tired. So the Asuras simply sleep. In the meantime, many of them have been wounded, injured, as sometimes they would drop the mountain. So a lot of them got stuck underneath. Some lost their life. Many lost their lives. Many got injured. So the Devatas again requested Vishnu to help them, who flew in with on his vehicle, the Garuda. And on seeing this, Vishnu instructed Garuda to lift the mountain and put it in the Milky Ocean. And as they were leaving, Vishnu gave a glance to all these devatas who immediately were rejuvenated with strength and they started moving towards the Milky Ocean. The Asuras did not want any of that, and the Asuras actually lifted the wounded, the healthier ones among them lifted the wounded and injured or weak Asuras to their kingdom so they could be treated and brought back to churn the ocean. So off they went to the ocean, all of them, 330 million and 660 million. All of them go to the mighty ocean. By then, Vasuki is also there, and they started churning the ocean. A huge task. As they were churning, I mean, a few years passed. Few years passed, and this Mount Mantara, which was vertical, started tilting. It also started getting lifted because when you turn, since there is nothing on top to hold it, it also started lifting and it started tilting. So again, the Devas prayed to Lord Vishnu to help, who Vishnu took a beautiful form, a beautiful avatar called the Kurma avatar, which is in the form of a tortoise. And he swam to the bottom of the Milky Ocean, lifted Mount Mantara, and put himself underneath so the mountain would be resting on top of this Kurma avatar of Lord Vishnu. And he put one hand on top of the mountain so the mountain would stay in place, and the churning continued for a few more years. Now it is believed that this churning of the Milky Ocean actually went on for about 1,000 years before anything could come out of it. So they churned and churned and churned, and soon they became very tired, all of them. And um, God, seeing all these tired people, he took several thousand forms, and he started doing this for the Devas and for the Asuras. So eventually the job was done and it started yielding results. Oh, as this churning was going on, the serpent Vasuki was getting irritated. Now, I forgot to mention, now for the churning process, the head side of Vasuki was taken by the Asuras and the tail end was taken by the Devas. So as they were churning, Vasuki was getting irritated and started letting out poisonous fumes, and this killed a few thousands of Asuras. And as the churning continued, the first thing that emerged from the ocean was a deadly poison called halahala. Halahala started immediately heating up the environment, and soon everyone got scared that it is going to destroy this whole universe. And Mahadeva, as per the request of Mahavishnu, drank this poison, and it got stuck in his throat and turned blue. Because of this, he came to be called as Nilakanta. And the churning continued. So first, there were many divine, or how shall we say, some supernatural animals first came. So I'm not going to talk about what came out of this ocean in the order in which they came. I'll just list them. First came three supernatural animals. One was Kamadhenu, the cow, which was taken by the rishis so they could use the milk, butter, yogurt, cow dung, and cow urine also for the various yajnas and homas that they do. Next came the Airavata, which Indra took, which is the divine elephant. Indra took it as his vehicle. And then came the divine horse called Uchchaishravas, and King Mahabali took that. Then came the Kaustuba, the most valuable jewel in the world. Vishnu took that. Then came the divine tree called Parijat, which gives out such fragrant flowers which would never fade or wilt. I remember we had one tree in our house and the fragrance is just amazing. Next came uh, beautiful ladies. First one to come was Varuni Devi or Sura. She is the goddess and creator of intoxicating drinks like alcohol. The Asuras took them. Next came the Apsaras, and the Apsaras actually decided to be with the Devatas. And then came Goddess Mahalakshmi seated on a lotus with lotus in her hands, and with a face that looked like a full bloom lotus. And the Asuras by then were very tired and did not bother to look at what was coming. But the Devas saw this beautiful divine form and they knew that it was to be respected. So Indra quickly got a golden simhasana or a golden chair for Lakshmi. The holy rivers, Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati brought holy waters and washed her washed her feet. The Pushkala Varta clouds, which are these clouds which would pour heavy. I mean, we cannot imagine how heavy they would be, because these are the clouds that pour heavy rainfall during Pralaya or the Mahapralaya, when this universe is supposed to be swallowed in because of these floods. So these Pushkala Vartam clouds actually showered the Devi with gentle showers. The 8 elephants, or the Diggajas as they are called, brought waters from all the holy rivers, and they gave a shower. What is being witnessed is a Pattabhishekam of Sri Mahalakshmi called the Sri Pattabhishekam. Now, this is and she receives many gifts. The Samudra Raja, who's considered to be her father because she emerged from the ocean, gifts her with garments. Vishwakarma gives her golden ornaments. Varuna gives her a garland called Vaijayanti. Saraswati gives her a pearl necklace, and Indra then realizes that she is goddess Mahalakshmi and starts to sing praise. Starts to praise her in the form of a stotra. This can actually be found in the Vishnu Purana Antargata Sri Stuti, where sage Parashara talks about the glory through Indra, and also gives us the Falashruti. So Indra says, Indra says, Tvam Siddhi, Tvam Swada, Sudha, and he says she possesses knowledge about the Jnana Vidya, Mahavidya, Guhya Vidya and Atma Vidya. In the Lakshmi Ashtotram, Lord Mahadeva actually says that she holds, or she possesses the Ashtasiddhis, the Navanidhis, and she's the controller of our Indriyas, the Karmendriyas, the Pancha Karmendriyas and the Jnanendriyas, and also of our Manas, Buddhi and Ahankara. So as Indra sings all of this, Lakshmi is very pleased and she blesses him and all the Devas with fortune that would never ever leave them. Now one side glance from her would give or gave all the fortune, and Swami Desikan very beautifully in his Sri Stuti says, Yasyam dishi viharate devi drishtis tvadiya tasyam ahamahamikam dhanvate sampadogaha. So in the Falashruti, sage Parashara says that anyone who recites this Antargata Sri Stuti present in the Vishnu Puranam would be blessed with fortune that would never leave them. Now, Mahalakshmi then walks up to Mahavishnu, who actually enjoys witnessing the Sri Pattabhishekam, and she garlands him and owns him back as her consort. Now, one may think that Lakshmi was born only at the time of the churning of the Milky Ocean, but as I said earlier, Jagannatha and Jagannmata are never born. They are eternal. There is no end for them and there is no beginning. So this Lakshmi coming out of the Milky Ocean can be considered as one of her avatars. Like it's a divine pastime. And having regained their strength and valor, the churning of the ocean again continues, and out comes Lord Dhanvantri who's considered the lord of medicine, he comes out with a golden pot containing the Amrita. Seeing that, the Asuras immediately snatch that from him, and again comes Lord Vishnu to the rescue. He comes in the form of a beautiful damsel called Mohini and entices the Asuras to give the golden pot to him. And he tells them that I would distribute this Amrit to all of you equally. So he asks them, and eventually he tricks the Asuras, giving only the Devas the Amrita, except for one Asura who was quick to find the trick. It's called Rahu, but the Devas come to know of it and somehow tell Lord Vishnu, who then slices off his head and with his Sudarshana Chakra. He's now called, he has this Rahu and Ketu. So he has his body is like a snake and the head like a human, or like a Deva or an Asura. So that is how the Amrit was distributed, and the Devas, having regained their strength and valor, start fighting the Asuras. Eventually they were removed from the Indraloka or the Suvarloka. The Devas regained their kingdom, and they, having been blessed by Sri Mahalakshmi, they never lose their fortune, and they were able to bring back Dharma on the rise. So I hope you enjoyed listening to this story of Samudramatanam, through which not just the what they say, saram, alpasaram. So it was a very the Amritam that gives immortality is not so valuable as the Alvars from Tamil Nadu, from where I come. They have enjoyed in their Nalayira Divya Prabandham as Amudilum Amudhu, or the Amrit of all the Amrit put together, who is Sri Mahalakshmi, who came out of the Milky Ocean. So they enjoyed that aspect of the Samudra Manthan, and so did I, and I hope you all do. Thank you once again, Team Arohanam, for giving me this lovely opportunity to enrich my knowledge a tad bit and also share it with all of you. Kavitarkika Simhaya Kalyana Gunashaline Srimate Venkateshaya Vedanta Gurave Namaha. Thank you.